on the card issuing side, we have signed with the card issuing provider. We were approved by MasterCard. Some sticking points on it. One, we can have max 5K load at a time. So we were hoping for 10K, but 5K is okay. Basically, you can put 5,000 USD on the card at a time. And then when you spend, then you can add more. So let's say I put on 5,000, I spend 1,000. Well, then I can put on another 1,000. So I don't think it's going to be a major deal breaker for us. So that's okay. And the cardholders also have a one-time exit. So we were saying no cash access because we thought it would get us more easily approved by the bank, which worked. But MasterCard was saying, okay, they have to have some sort of exit strategy. So there is a one-time cash exit at a bank that someone could say, if you put in $5,000 on your card, you can get $5,000 out at a bank. So that doesn't really affect us either. So that's fine as well. So in general, the negotiations that Transcard did us to get us approved by MasterCard kind of worked for us. But we did find out some things that aren't so great. We can't actually use Google or Apple Pay without upgrading our bank info number. So every card program has a bank identification number assigned with it. And there are certain levels of bank identification numbers which will allow you to do different things. One of the things is putting cards into Apple and Google Pay. So when they said digital card, I guess we assumed that meant Apple and Google cards, but that's not what they meant. They meant that it is a card that you can use for online payments, which is kind of silly to me. Anyways, it is what it is. We can't really do much about it. But if we want to get this functionality, it's going to cost $5,000 upfront to upgrade our BIN, and it's going to take 2 months at least of compliance work, basically approval work that the bank and the network need to do for us. So what this means is we can kick this off in parallel and eventually get to the point where we're able to put it in Google and Apple Pay, let's say in January, right? So if we start it now, November 1st, like January 1st, something like that, we could start to use this Google and Apple Pay functionality. The issue for us is related to it's going to cost $5K upfront for us to do that. Hey, Coffee Crusher, what's up?
So I think I know it's not great news, but it's okay. I mean, we can spin it as there's more features coming to the card. So if we can because it's going to take 2 months, right? We'll launch as is, and then when the new ability for Google Pay, it's another opportunity for us to market that there's more functionality and benefits with the card. So, I mean, I know internally it's not great, but I think it's okay. I mean, I think we can spin it okay. So as long as we start that process or start working towards that progress, and then, do it.
Yeah. Hey, Taluine, do you have something to say, or? All right. Taluine, let me know if you're able to mute yourself. So I just server muted you, so that you're not interrupting the meeting. But yeah, I agree with you, Coffee Crusher. I think that it's something like it's not ideal for getting users to use the card immediately, right? Because another thing is that they said that the lead time. Oh yeah, actually, this is something that I didn't put in here. I thought I put it in here. That's weird. Anyways, they said that the lead time lead time to ship cards is 10 days. This is new information as well. During the sales process, they were like, 3 to 5 days to ship anywhere in the United States. And then the technical person came on and said, no, it's like it could be up to 10 days. So we'll see. I'm sure the real number is a little bit lower than that, but I guess like those two facts combined, Coffee Crusher, that the online card can't be used in Apple Pay or Google Wallet, and that it could take longer to issue cards than we had originally hoped, means that and the fact that they're telling us that the date is going to be later than we're hoping. So actually, that's something I probably didn't mention last week either. They are aiming for a first week December date. So they say that they can try to go a little bit faster. So here are the 3 facts that we got. One, the lead time that we were hoping for, mid to late November, they think that it's going to take longer than that because they have to go through some approvals and stuff like that. So their date that they're aiming for is first week of November, although they said we can try to go faster on any steps that we can, but in general, this is kind of what they've seen from their past things. So they're looking at first week of December. Second, it's going to take longer to potentially ship cards than we thought. They were saying something like 3 to 5 business days. Now they're saying 10 days. So that could be up to 2 weeks of waiting for people to actually use their card. And third, the online card is not usable in Google and Apple Pay, which means it may look like even if we launch the card, we won't be able to get to the point where we have a ton of spending by the end of the year, which is fine, right? Like that's okay, but it's something that we have to temper our expectations about because it's good, as Coffee Crusher said, for us to get something out there and improve upon it over time. And for every improvement we make, we can use that as an opportunity. But it's very important for us as a team to have all the information, right? So we're still aiming for these dates. We still want to get as much spending as we can, but there's a couple of wrenches thrown into the works. So just temper your expectations based on that.
And so that's, I think, yeah, because I mean, they possibly could be getting their cards around the 20th of December, potentially, right? So it just depends on when they're launching or able to ship in early December. So I think with that double the rewards, maybe I just say not have it for December 31st, is that we just say it within the first 60 days of your card spend, you getting your card. I don't have to put it to a certain date. So
yeah, exactly.
Or the date we actually know that they're shipping. We'll just change the date. But I think it's okay. I mean, it's not ideal, but you can make it work. And just meaning that there's new stuff coming, and it's another opportunity for marketing to talk about. There's more functionality.
So yeah, in terms of rewards, we definitely need to figure out some strategies around the rewards, and I think that's like a much deeper question. We should really set up a meeting to talk about how that's going to work, because I've got my thoughts, I know, on it, and I'm sure everybody else does too. And then we need to figure out like what rewards come from being a card user, a Bankless Card user, and what rewards come from each individual community. So not everybody's going to have the same rewards from the same community. So it gets really nuanced. And yeah, we definitely need to continue strategizing there. In terms of the extra features, you're right, Links. We won't have certain features this year, and the spend probably won't be as high as what we'd have hoped for. But if we have a product out by the end of the year, that will be a huge achievement. Also, I don't think that the ask of $5,000 to set up that contactless card is that big. I feel like Dom might possibly pay that himself just to activate it as soon as possible. But it is a tricky situation that we're in. Like, we've kind of said to them, yes, Apple Pay will work and Google Pay will work. And now all of a sudden it's not going to from the beginning. The other question I also meant to ask Bob was, are accounts upgradable, or do people have to get a new account when contactless is allowed? So
from what I understand, and this is, sometimes I understand incorrectly, as was evidenced in these last things. From what I understand, like for the cards themselves, like the physical cards that people will get will never be contactless because the technology doesn't exist in those physical cards. So they would have to get a new card to be contactless. But for Google and Apple Pay, that contactless without having to upgrade any kind of cards.
Okay, that would be ideal. Yeah, if we can get them to all upgrade rather than have to get a new card. I'm sure we can work a way around it, but at least then we know, like, let's go into the meeting tomorrow with Dom that we have set up and just say, hey, if you want to fund this, then by all means, Nouns cardholders can then have that as soon as possible. And it will be what he said, 2 months, right?
Exactly. Yeah. It's two. Well, I mean, they say it's roughly 2 months for approval, right? So,
Mhm.
yeah. We can
Okay.
also discuss this. So we can definitely discuss it during the partnerships call. We can also discuss it during the ops call after
Yeah.
this all hands.
Mhm.
But yeah, there's a discussion a little bit further down where we talk about this a bit more. So, let's not get too bogged down in these details yet. But let's discuss it again in a few minutes. Card designs are submitted. 10 days to get approval on those. So this was kind of our limiting factor. So great work on that. NF Thinker, Coffee Crusher, Rexy, and Hazu. Legal, we have all the legal entities that we need for now. One thing actually that I should put in here. No, you know what? I'll put it in our sauna afterwards. DAO partners, we have partnered 1 to 3 DAOs. This is complete. Launch campaigns. Any updates on the launch campaigns, Coffee Crusher? You said the landing pages.
Yeah, landing pages for BDAO is about 90% done. NF just gave me a new image to use, and I haven't even checked it on my mobile to see what it looks like. It's the problem is it's rendering weird in the mobile phone look. So that's done. We haven't done. One of the things that I will be working on is like a nouns card version. So I'll do that next, and then in regards to the launch campaign. So I'm going to be following up with the Nouns team because they said they had some internal conversations going on last week, or, they were talking. So I said I'd follow up with her and say that, just see how everything is going because I want to start working on the co-marketing with them. So that's one thing. And then the second thing that I'm doing is that I'm going to be following up with Rachel for Crypto Sapiens to get on the schedule and then follow back up with Roast for Making Bake.
All right.
I had a question regarding the landing page. Do we keep it inside of ConvertKit and just I don't know, just keep the minuses that we have there, or do we whip up a new landing page and embed the ConvertKit forms in there? Because we have some limitations to what we wanted to do. What Coffee you had mentioned in the requirements for these landing pages that ConvertKit doesn't allow. I have Jonathan who is ready to help out with that. He could do it pretty quickly.
I think I'm sorry, go ahead, Link.
I was just like, is there a reason that we shouldn't just like for this phase at least go with whatever ConvertKit has and just use it to our best of our ability?
We can. It's just not the all of the ConvertKit cannot fulfill all of the wishes that were mentioned for the landing page, but we can go with it. It's no problem. It works. So.
I mean, from my perspective, I mean, it's not perfect, but it's not. I think it's 90% there, so to speak. So, I mean, for the country field, the text box, as long as the imagery looks okay on mobile, I think we're good to go. So, my vote would be just to use ConvertKit for this time, and we can get fancier later.
All right. By the way, if the person you signing up doesn't have a VPN, we can see their exact location. That is also a bonus there.
Oh, that's cool. That's probably like me. Okay.
Cool. All right. Anything else on launch campaigns?
No. Sorry, I was drinking coffee. The only other thing is that I'm planning on one of the things why I wanted to get the BCard version done is because I want to present in a community call this Friday and include the link for people to start signing up.
The landing page link? Yeah.
Yeah, the landing page link.
Okay.
There is one issue though with ConvertKit. The people who have already signed up to our pre-launch email, will just receive the tag that they are U.S. citizen or not. They will just get added a tag. They won't show up as new signups.
So you mean like what it will look like on the back end, almost like a spreadsheet, and it will just show their name and then it will say U.S. citizen or not, but it won't include their email address.
They will be added to the tag U.S. citizen or non-U.S. citizen.
Okay.
That's good anyways, right? Like basically we can see what we want to see, which is we want to have a list of people where we can send them an email when we launch in the US, right? So that'll give us that list.
Yep. I will test this though a few more times, see what happens with like my emails that have already been signed up. So
also to clarify, the card designs, just so everybody knows, the card designs have been sent over. Transcard hasn't necessarily accepted that. They have to go through their design team, and then they have to be submitted to, I guess, MasterCard, if I'm not mistaken. So
the bank and MasterCard, actually, both of them.
The bank and MasterCard. So even though we have designed cards, if we put them on somewhere, it might not be the end-all, be-all of what actually appears. But it is one of the limiting factors in terms of time. It takes the longest time to turn it around. So that's why we've submitted now. We haven't heard back from their design team yet, but they're reviewing that. And then we're going to go ahead and submit as close to what we have right now, just to get it out as soon as possible.
So, NF, in regards to showing the BCard design, are you saying wait on that? If I want to promote that, I would show on the community call?
The card design, just use elements of it, like the logos and the stack of chips, which I sent across.
Yeah,
but you can show the card, right? Like even if it changes, that's fine, right? Like this is our work in progress. This is our work in public, right? So
Okay, all right, then I'll show it.
And then on in regards of other artwork, we have Transcendence, who has done some bunnycorns and some knuckles. I added this to the shift section as well. But that's also part of the launch campaign. So I guess the next step there is to figure out how we're going to do the videos and how we're going to utilize this content. Like, what are we going to produce with this? So I think realistically, it would be best if Rainus and Coffee Crusher and I met to talk about all that stuff, sort of like the production side of what we need to produce and trying to keep it within the brand. And then whoever else wants to contribute, obviously everyone's welcome.
I have an update regarding this. Andy has prepared some scripts that he will show in tomorrow's community call. Well, not community call, communications call. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we can talk about this in tomorrow's communications call.
Perfect. I will be there.
Nice. Yeah, I think in general, we can start with the communication call tomorrow, and then break out to another meeting if we need it to talk more about Transcendence's work that they're working on.
Sounds good. I'll invite Alan, actually.
All right. And on our related assets, we haven't made any progress on this, although we did. I will mention, related to our related assets, Taxman, there has been of the 1,600 retro PGF applications, 1,000 of them have been flagged as spam, including some Bankless projects. But Taxman was not marked as spam. So there you go. We did something legitimate for the Optimism Collective, at least according to badge holders that were signed to rate us so far. So that's the progress on Optimism Retro PGF 3. Looking at our task perspective now, one of the things that I said that I was going to figure out is, I'll put in the inbox, figure out how to get money from our multi-sig to our Mercury bank. It's kind of time where we have to figure this out. I'm going to assign this to myself.
Actually, I was thinking about that the last few days as well.
Yeah, so it's not, I looked just kind of briefly. It's not super easy. So we're going to have to, it's probably going to take some time.
You had me on the hook there. I was waiting for you to say not super hard.
Yeah,
But luckily, we know all the right people to help us get it done.
exactly. Yeah. So I think that it's important that we are starting it sooner rather than later, because we are going to have to pay Transcard as soon as we ship. As soon as like they after like these approvals is kind of like when we need to pay them. So yeah, that's something that we are going to need to work on. Yep. So just looking at these, and I'm wondering if I double put week 42, 40. Oh, I have two 42s. Okay. Yeah, so that's this 42. So this 43 should have actually been 42. All right. Well, I have some people here who I didn't have last week. So I forgot to put the assignees on here. Links, product workstream lead Hazu, communications, Rainus, Anna Thinker, Tom, and campaign lead. All right, is coffee crusher. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to go through this real quick. So last week, Tom, I don't know if you can talk. Tom, did you spend at least 5 hours on Bankless Card? I'm pretty sure that you did, but I'm going to ask anyways. I don't know if Tom can talk. Rainus?
Oh, yeah. Hey, guys. Yep. Here. I'm just walking outside trying to find some sunshine in this cold. And I did spend 5 hours.
Okay. And this week as well, I assume?
This week is definitely tracking on +5 for sure.
Okay, great. So Tom and I did as well. All right. Hazu, did you spend 5 hours on Bankless Card?
Yeah, I did.
And this week as well?
And this week, yeah, I have 1 hour left that I need to finish, but I am having some calls for product with Anna and
Nice.
for Kinder.
Okay. So, I thought I just set this. Okay. Well, I'll just put this like this for now. Product development. And Rainus, did you spend 5 hours last week on Bankless Card?
Yeah, I did, and I'm gonna have a vlog to show for it. How was it going in Ibiza? Also the landing pages and stuff. So yep, I did.
And this week as well?
Well, I'm counting last week and this week as 1 week from last Wednesday to today.
And what about the previous Wednesday to last Wednesday? Did you also spend at least 5 hours?
Yeah, I was head down editing mostly.
All right. Nice. And if Thinker, did you spend 5 hours on Bankless Card in the last week?
I did.
Nice. And the Coffee Crusher, did you spend at least 5 hours on Bankless Card in the last week?
I did.
Awesome. All right. Great. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Everyone being accountable so I can take these things off of the alt team projects. And there we go. I will pay them out in our thing next week. Inbox, we have this. I'm going to put it, it's pretty important. I wouldn't say it is the most important, but it's pretty important. So figuring out how to get our money from our multi-sig. Milestones and projects. We have the funding that we needed. While actually, we're probably going to need to poke that a little bit. I haven't updated the cash flow based upon the new thing, so I have to do that hopefully today, so we can see how this 5K impacts us. But we kind of been saying, oh, we have 15K. That's enough for us to launch into the new year. Well, actually, we're probably going to need more than that to get us into the new year if we're going to do this 5K. So that's something to note. POC is launched. While we're still working on that, the alpha app is ongoing and signed with the card issuing provider. Actually, yeah. So we have gone through diligence with Transcard now. So actually, I think we can. Well, we've signed with the card issuing. I'm going to take a look at this week, but I think we can potentially close this task. Customer journey maps needs feedback. I haven't given you feedback on this yet. Long hash, they are not answering. They're kind of, and their Twitter seems kind of empty too. So I'm not really sure what's happening with long hash. I'm just going to remove this from all team projects and add it to our ops weekly, so we can kind of see if we need to work on this at all. Alpha app, this is currently ongoing as we are. We kind of already gave an update on it, but yeah, essentially we are working on this sheet. So I'll put it here. So we're kind of 24% complete. Card art. Now we're kind of blocked on Transcard, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes, that's correct. We have to wait for them to either confirm or deny.
Okay, I will put it in the block section then. Figure out how to get our volume from our multisig. Already talked about that. App deploy. Bog Dragonoff said that he's going to work on that this week. So he just needs to do this part for us and also password protect the staging app. So he's going to work on these kind of things for us this week. Not super important yet, but it's going to start getting increasingly important. Let's put our launch campaigns a little bit up. We did talk about this already. But yes, I see that Coffee Crusher has put some updates here if you're interested. NFTs for friends and families round. This is getting pretty important because we did tell people that we would get those out in October, and it's now past October. How's this going?
Yeah, I did look into Manifold. I think is probably the best option. Zora is good, but Manifold seems to be more in tune with what we're doing. I don't know. It just feels better for me. Also, when looking into the multisig, I couldn't find anything on Zora for Manifold. If I create the contract, I can then add Bankless Card multisig as a administrator, and then I can remove myself as an administrator. So we're going to use Manifold unless anybody has any problems with that. It should be completely free. There's some comments in there I've left down below in that task as well. So if you scroll down, you can see. Yeah, you got those.
I have a question for NS or Alex. Is it at the point where I can kind of take a screenshot of it and sort of show it, as a little Easter egg on the community call this week for the NFT?
Yeah.
Even better than a screenshot, you should use the GIFs that Bobo had made. So it is possible to
movie files, I think.
Yeah, so
but we can make GIFs.
Yeah, you can put animated files into those Google Docs. So if you wanted to put an animated look at our NFTs, that works.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that would be great.
Yeah.
And there's also mention of what is it, 720 or 1155. And if you scroll up a bit, there are links. You can see that depending on how we create the token, will depend on whether or not it's one token per owner or one collection with multiple owners. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was going to go for the 720, unless
I think the 720 is probably good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the 720 works for us right now for this particular use case. All right. Okay, going down, app deploy. We already talked about this. On-chain goodies. I guess this is kind of related to NFTs for friends and family round.
Yeah, and I did add some notes to that as well earlier today.
Mm-hmm. So email inviting first to mint their badge. And so is it the on-chain goodies? It's going to be for both contributors and like consumers, I guess. Like, will we have a special badge for people who contributed as well?
I guess on-chain goodies are really, it's really everything. It's all the digital strategy. So this will include our first 1,000 signups on the email. This will include our contributors. This will include our donors, and then moving forward, whoever else it is. The whole thing, on-chain goodies encompasses all of those.
Okay, I'm going to put this into the milestone/project section then. And are you actively working on the other things other than the donor NFTs?
Other than the donor NFTs, the contributor NFTs.
Okay. So I'll just do
those will fall into the same category because they're the same design. The only one that we don't have a design for is our first 1,000 email signups. But that can be something simple as well. doesn't have to be elaborate artwork.
Okay.
It could just be the unicorn.
1K email NFTs. So I put them in here like this. So you're actively working on the contributor NFTs, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll put this into the this week section as well. Ship some NFTs to everyone who has so far contributed, i.e. earned BCard. Make sense?
Yeah, all good.
All right. Nice. So I'll put those where the on-chain goodies were. Ibiza next. Reyes, you said you're shipping some videos this week?
If you guys want to watch it, I put the link in the chat.
Oh, yeah. Nice. Will I actually be able to access this in Dash? Probably not. We shall see. Come on, Dash. Let me in. All right. Here we go. Here's the video.
It might. I'm ready for feedback because it might need some polishing.
Okay, it's 5 minutes, so it's a bit too long for me to play right at this moment. But if you guys want, at the end of the meet, we can take a look at it during the discussion section, and I'll definitely take a look before the communication meet next week. Great, sounds great. Video
I still have some reels that will be coming as well. I'm still working on those because they got subtitles, and those are a pain in the ass to put on videos.
Yes, so I found out. All right, website V2. Yes, these things still need to be done, but I haven't had a chance to work on it. Creating a way to set the date range. I suspect Tom hasn't had a chance to work on this either. And then finally, friends and families round. Actually, we may need to bump this up a little bit as we. Well, I'll just put it up here. Boink. Because we may need more in our funding. I'm just going to add a subtask here. Update financials with the new contactless card costs. All right. So I'll put that in here for me to work on so we can kind of understand how much our money will stretch. All right. Anything else that anyone's working on this week that's not here? I do think that getting this create investor email list might be related to our friends and family round. So I'm going to put that up here as well, because I think it may be time that we need to do our investor list now that it is October. Sorry, it's past October. We probably need to give an update to our donors rather. Create a donor email list.
I had something to mention to Coffee. We should start working on the emails that we will be sending out so March can start writing them, because he's writing in the spare time between his full-time job. So as soon as we give him directions, he can get those emails up.
And Reyes, you're talking about to the subscription list as well as to the subscription list. You're not talking about the donor list.
Yeah. When we launch, also to the donor list is more links writing, but like to the people who sign up, and when we launch the card, to our subscriber list announcing that you can sign up to be to receive the card and emails like that.
Got it. Okay, I'll start working on that, because I mean, with the landing page or the sign up page almost pretty much done or close to being done, we can start. I'll create something and with some guidelines for March and share that with you.
Yep, perfecto.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else that we want to talk about? Sorry, not talk about, but anything else anyone's working on? All right, let's get into the best part of the week. What did we ship this week? All right. Anything else? Don't forget to add it to this list. Coffee Crusher got an Opolis Twitter space for links and NF Thinker. We were on it last week. Transcard got us approved by MasterCard. Pretty huge news. I refactored the page, the app code, to make auth easily replaceable because there's some issues with our auth that I wasn't happy with. We're also meeting with Privy on Friday. Privy is what It's kind of like, let's say, it is a known embedded wallet provider that groups like FriendTech use, and some other apps as well. So that's something that we could potentially use. I also poked Rainbow because they said that they have some embedded wallet solutions too, and I'd love to use their stuff. I just think that they're really good at UX. So Lynx and NF Thinker had a kickoff with Transcard. We also had our weekly meet on Tuesday, and Tom was at that one, and their tech contact. So we're getting stuff moving forward with Transcard. On the product side, I styled the profile page. I also did a big refactor, as I mentioned above. Tom fixed a bunch of bugs related to that refactor as well, and has designed 2 pages. Both Hazu, I think Hazu mentioned that she's going to meet with Anna for an hour to kind of review them. And I shipped some Asana updates based upon our new look at this.
Sorry.
Oh, you met already?
Yeah. We were checking the actual design that Anna did. I made the corrections. Then we are configuring a couple of things for tomorrow.
Nice. I'm going to concentrate on getting as much of the design in the app as possible. So over the next week, I should be using it as well. And then I shipped some Asana updates. I already mentioned that. Coffee Crusher, NF Thinker, and Rexy shipped some custom card designs. Hazu chipped in with another nouns concept, which is a great concept that I think we need to explore. Unfortunately, we don't have the time to explore it right now, but I think that as we replace some of these cards, it's really... Hopefully, we have more time to make these designs in the future. Transcendence shipped a 3D bunnycorn and Noggles concept. If you haven't seen them, come ahead and take a look. This is what our bunnycorn looks like in 3 dimensions. Let's see if I can actually, well, I don't know if I can press play on that one. Is this a video? Or is just a picture of a video?
No, that's just a picture of a video. Yeah.
Okay.
I was going to throw the links in there as well, but I didn't want to clutter it all up. So they are in the Discord channel. So if anybody wants to check that out, you go into the POC.
Nice. Anything else that anyone shipped today? Or sorry, over the last week?
Just announcements on social on our Twitter page in regards to that we're launching. I'd said November, so now we can adjust that, but it's okay. Of the card, and just follow up from the community call Friday.
I'm just letting Tom into my lobby. He's apparently run afoul of the front desk people. He's safe. Don't worry. All right. Thanks for that, Coffee Crusher. I appreciate it. Now we're at the point where we can discuss, I think, a little bit more about the experience, especially in the first phase of the app. First phase of the product, as we have some of these, I guess, like the no Google and Apple Pay, kind of the things that we were discussing earlier. Do we want to get deeper into it now? What that means?
I mean, from my perspective, I kind of want to talk a little bit about the experience of what that could potentially mean, because that'll sort of help with sort of how we position this or market this. So like the 10 days and so forth.
Yeah, so I think like the key here is that, okay, so if you're a user and you download the Bankless Card app and you go through a KYC process, okay, let's assume everything goes correctly, and you're at the point where you're like, okay, great, I got a card. Then what you can do is, so in that card, you get a card. It's basically a 0 balance card because you have no balance on it. And we should probably in the app show that card as like it's just that like originally I thought it was going to be like an Apple/Google Pay, but that's not what exists. They're saying it's a virtual card, but really all that means is that there is like a number and a CVV so that you have the card numbers that you can use to make online purchases or something. And that's kind of it. So we don't have this screen in our app yet, right? So this is something that we have to look at. And now that we finally have a little bit more information on what they're looking for on the KYC side, I'm going to create some wireframes and such around this so that we can kind of visualize it a little bit better. But ultimately, when you're a user, you sign up, you have a 0 balance card. What does that look like? Probably you should see a card image in the app based upon your the DAO that you chose. So you chose Nouns DAO earlier on in the onboarding flow, and you get to this card, you do your KYC, you are approved. We will get instant confirmation on whether or not that person is approved. And then boom, you should probably be able to like see a card right there somewhere in our app. I don't know how that looks yet. I don't know what it should look like, but ultimately that's
It should look like the virtual card design. So that's what we need to deliver for them. And this was the confusion, right? They said there's a virtual card and you'll be able to install it on an Apple Wallet, but that's not the same thing as being available for Apple Pay or Google Pay. You can store it in your wallet, you can view the number, but you can't do a contactless transaction with it. So in the app, I fully agree. I think it sounds great. You apply, you're approved, you go to a page that shows your actual card. That works.
Yeah. And so like I don't really know how this should like where in the I know it's how the card should look, but I don't know like where in the app this card should live or exist. Maybe it's in the profile screen and you click and my card, but I don't know. Maybe that's not. Anyways, all this to say that this new information that we got yesterday is going to change our app experience a little bit, and we're going to need to update our wireframe and design based upon this. So when you're a user, you come in, you see the card. What does that card actually mean? You can use those numbers to make online purchases, essentially. You cannot use this card to pay at a physical location unless that physical location is willing to type in all the numbers and CVVs and stuff, which typically they won't do. I mean, at least around here where I live. I don't know if they'll do that where you live, but
not with the digital, but with the physical, yes. With the physical, you can swipe it, and that's that.
Yeah. And so we'll have the user's address. We will automatically, as part of this process, ship them a card. It could take up to 10 days for them to get that card. So what does that mean? Well, the nice thing about that 10-day is that, well, it's going to take some time for them to actually on-ramp money onto the card itself. So all of that experience was a big question mark. And now, after the information that we got last week, we can start designing a lot of it. So we're going to need to update our wireframes and such to include a lot of this stuff. And then we're going to get it visually designed. But ultimately, it means that you will get a card, and you will then have to wait for the physical card. And in the meantime, you can put money onto that card and make online purchases, or just put money and wait for your physical card to come in the mail.
So I have a question. So if the ability is within the app that, like, I go through my KYC as a user, and then it shows this image that's actually my card, like with my name on it, and it has my real number and, expiration date. If that's possible, I can use that as a user, like to pay my Netflix, right? Like, or my AT&T bill or whatever, right? Because a lot of those types of bills, if you want to use it for that type of thing, it just requires the number of the expiration, the CVV number. Will you be able to, at the point when I actually looks like it has my real card with my real number, like in a virtual sense, will I be able to, as a user, be able to start within the app, start transferring funds to that card?
Yes, you can start in the app. You can immediately transfer funds to that card.
Okay, so
and you can pay bills.
Perfect, because there is a way to start using it before I get my physical card to take to the store. Because you're right. Even here in the U.S., I don't know of anywhere that will not. They want to see the card. Like, you can't go into a store or Starbucks or whatever without a physical card, unless it's a Google Pay thing. Or
yes, exactly.
So I think that's okay. It's the expectations of how to use the card, and we just do it through communication to the user.
That's a good question, actually, Coffee Crusher, because that was one of the options. They could have set it up so the virtual card was not available before the physical card arrived. But we will be getting access to the virtual cards first, I believe. Is that right? Thanks.
Yeah, so we will have access to the virtual cards immediately. And another thing that they kind of gave us an option, you can have a virtual card and a physical card that are separate. And that would make it somehow go faster, but then the balances would be split. So all of the balances, I think as a user, you assume you have this physical and virtual card, they draw from the same balance. I think that is really important, but that was not a default position from Transcard. They were having split balances across the physical and the digital card, which I think was not great.
No.
So your physical card will have the same, I think, information as your digital card, or at least it will be tied to your balance.
Perfect, because I think with two different numbers, with two different balances, that's going to get really confusing. And from a
Exactly.
user experience, it's like, ugh, it just feels icky. Like it feels like hard to use.
Yep. Agreed. Okay. You can then load this card with funds and use it for digital purchases. The physical card will come in the mail up to 10 days later. Okay. Yeah, so that's kind of how it looks to answer your two questions. Can you transfer funds to the card? Yes. Will you be able to pay bills online? Yes. Yeah, so you can kind of use the CVV, the credit card, and the card number, the CVV, and the expiration date to pay for things.
Will there be, okay, this is kind of asking a lot. Will there be an ability to copy it, or do you have to, like, I'm thinking like if I go to Amazon and I want to add it to my, my wallet things to make purchases, well, I have to type it out like 4073, whatever the number is, right? Or is there an ability to like when I was looking at the wallet, the vault thing where it has a copy feature, so I can just click that and then it automatically populates it into the form I'm filling out?
So we can build that essentially. Yes, we can do that. This is when I say like the experience, the wireframes, the design. Okay, great, Hazu, see you later. When I talk about the experience, the wireframes design, this is exactly the kind of experience I'm talking about. So great idea. We will add this copy functionality into it so that we have action, add copy functionality to the app for digital card. All right. Any other questions on this around the experience? Now that we are unblocked on the, let's call it the card side, then it means that we can start developing a lot of this experience. Some of it will be hard to test if you're not in the States. So we're going to be bugging Coffee Crusher and Sam Marin to test stuff for us, as well as other people who I've reached out to make some tests for us. But yeah, apparently myself, Tom, and a thinker will be able to get some test cards at least. So we'll be using those to continue developing the app.
Unless you have a VPN and you just change the country.
Sorry? Yeah, we have to have a physical address in the States.
We should have to register with a US-based address, so the VPN would hide you on the internet, but not in the room.
So, Tom, I didn't hear what you said online. I think you're muted. Yeah. So basically, Tom was saying that, yeah, we'd have a VPN, but we still need to have status in the United States to get those cards, residency, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, an address in the States.
Rochester.
Yeah, exactly. So me and Tom could go get a place in Rochester and get a card there. Although I think that there's additional stuff related to that. But yes, testing will be the hard part. These are all things that we're going to be figuring out as we go. We are flying by the seat of our pants a little bit here, but this flying by the seat of our pants is going to hopefully enable us to get a card out this year. Any card that we get out that actually works is a huge milestone for us. I think that the key for us will be, let's ensure that the experience is as easy to use as possible. And to make it as easy to use as possible, we scale down to the barest number of features features, the smallest possible amount of features that we can, so that we can say that every feature that we have is super easy to use. I think that that is the difficult part. I think a lot of times when people think about good UX, they think about features, features, features. Lots of features is a good thing. Actually, lots of features makes it very difficult to create a simplified, easy to use UX. So it's really important for us to really narrow down our focus wherever we can. Okay, so think about that as you are coding, or sorry, not coding, as you are working on this stuff, reduce, reduce, reduce. Okay, think about all of the daily reductions you can do. I think that's something that Bruce Lee had said as well. It is not the daily increase, but the daily decrease. Eventually, perfection is. This is someone else, not Bruce Lee. I think this one might have been Albert Einstein. Perfection is achieved not when there's nothing left to add, but when there's nothing left to remove. So think about that as we are working on this. Only the most valuable things are things that we should be working on. Only the most valuable things are the things that we should be shipping to our users. And every single thing that we ship should have a high bar for user experience, because ultimately that is the purpose of Bankless Card, is to bridge the UX gap between Web3 and the real world. Everything else feeds in from that side of things. So if you are on board with that, just make sure that you're pulling it into your day-to-day work. We are at time here, so I'm going to call it. Just want to express a little bit of gratitude to everyone. I really appreciate everything that we're all doing together. We're making progress week by week on this. We get a few wrenches thrown in, but honestly, so far, the amount of wrenches that we've gotten is pretty small. It hasn't been terrible. So I still think that the universe is driving us towards releasing this card by the end of the year. And as I said before, if we hit this date, we will be legends. It's true. It's not necessarily the most refined card product that we could make out of the gate, but it is the best bang for buck. It is the way that we're building it is very Bankless Card. So all this to say, thanks for all the work that we're doing. And I really appreciate all of you. Let's keep at it.
Thank you.
All right. All the best, everyone.
Thank you. See ya.